Apt Pupil, Summer of Corruption was another novella by Stephen King, which was published in the Different Seasons collection. While two other stories from the book had already been made into films, it seems that this one was a long time coming, at least for me. Out of the four stories in Different Seasons, this is the one I kept reading over and over again. I really looked forward to the film version. The story is about a young boy, Todd Bowden, who discovers that his elderly neighbor, Arthur Denker, is actually the fugitive Nazi war criminal Kurt Dusander. As Todd has a morbid fascination with the Holocaust instead of doing the right thing and turning in the old man, he approaches him and blackmails him into telling him all the grisly stories from when he was an officer in the Nazi army and had overseen thousands of mass executions and evil experiments during the war. Todd continues to see Dusander throughout his teens, growing increasingly more morbid and obsessed with these stories, to the point where first his grades suffer and later he becomes homicidal himself. It all comes to a head after Dusander, who had also recently started revisiting his old homicidal nature, has a heart attack, and while in the hospital, a Holocaust survivor recognizes him. The old criminal kills himself, and Todd winds up being exposed as having fraternized with him for years, as well as for the murder of several transients. In the end of the story, he is killed in a standoff with the police. The film version makes many changes, not the least of which is the ending, which isn't nearly as grim, and the time frame, which is shortened from Todd's entire teenage years to just a single year. When I first saw the film, which I had anticipated for quite some time, I was really disappointed with it. Though having watched it again more recently, it isn't bad at all. Most of the actors in the film aren't really familiar to me, except for the star, Sir Ian McKellen, who plays Dusander. The film is directed by Bryan Singer, not the first time that he'd direct McKellen. McKellen is by far the best part of the movie, though he's anything but British. He plays the role perfectly, and you will easily forget the actor during the film. The only other person that I recognized was David Schwimmer in one of his Please Take Me Seriously roles. Thankfully, it's a small part. A lot of the more grisly aspects of the story are left out, particularly the nightmares that Todd has after spending time with Kurt. Probably because even the most tame of those nightmares would have sent some people out of the theater pretty fast. My main issue with the movie that still stands is its lack of cohesion. It's a great showcase for Ian McKellen's acting talents, but you have to wonder what the point is. A lot of the commentary on the dangers of obsession are lost. Todd is so clearly evil from the beginning that it becomes more of a showcase between young evil and old evil. Instead of corrupting Todd, Dusander merely teaches him some new tricks. Though my initial reaction to this film was utter disappointment, I think it could be best described as average. The novel is something that stays with you, but I couldn't remember much of the film until I had seen it again for this review. I give Apt Pupil a 5 out of a possible 10.